Okay, so I want to start today with a question. And honestly, it's a little bit rude.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing where if a friend asked you this at a dinner party, you might just freeze.
Okay, I'm braced.
How many dreams have you abandoned? Not because you tried and failed, but because you were just too afraid to even start?
Wow. Yeah, that is a rude question. That's a heavy opener.
It is, right? Because we all have that list. I mean, the screenplay we never wrote, the business idea on the napkin, the trip we just never booked.
And we have our reasons. Very polite, logical
Ah,
reasons.
exactly. Oh, the timing's not right, or I'm just too busy, or my personal favorite, I need to be more realistic.
Logistics. We always blame logistics.
We do. But the source material for today's deep dive, it's this really intense analysis called Still Becoming, Fear in the Personal Legend. It sort of calls our bluff on that.
It really does. It argues that if you peel back all those realistic excuses, what you're left with is just raw fear.
Which brings us to the book this whole analysis is centered on. We are talking about Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist.
And right now, I can feel a collective eye roll from half our listeners.
I was about to say, The Alchemist is one of those books. It sold, what, 100 million copies? But for a lot of people, it feels a bit fluffy.
A bit live, laugh, love.
Totally. I'll admit, before I read this deep dive, I saw it as that book you give your cousin for graduation. You know, the universe will conspire to give you what you want.
Which can feel like toxic positivity.
Yeah, like the universe is your personal concierge. Just wish for it and it happens.
And that is the exact misconception our source material, Still Becoming, is trying to just completely dismantle.
Okay, so what's its take?
It argues that we have been reading The Alchemist wrong for decades. It claims it's not a fairy tale about destiny or magic.
Then what is it?
It's a manual on fear.
A manual on fear. Now that is a very different framing.
It is. The analysis suggests the book isn't about the universe just handing you things. It's about the actual mechanics of self-development.
And those mechanics
Are
are,
usually painful
yeah.
and terrifying and, frankly, pretty ugly. It's not about feeling good. It's about managing the terror of leaving what you know behind.
So let's unpack that because that sounds a lot more useful. The source starts with the protagonist, Santiago. He's a shepherd.
Right.
And the analysis points out something I completely missed when I first read the book. Santiago isn't miserable.
No, not at all.
He's not fleeing a war or starving. He actually has a nice life. He likes his sheep, he has a routine, he gets to travel a little.
That's the key to why he's so relatable. If his house was on fire, of course he'd run. You don't need bravery for that, just survival instinct.
Right.
But Santiago has stability. He has comfort. The struggle isn't about leaving misery. It's about choosing to leave comfort. And that is so much harder.
Infinitely harder. The source uses this specific word to describe his feeling. He feels unfinished.
Unfinished. I love that. It's so unsettling.
It is. And that tension between his comfortable life and that unfinished feeling, that's where all the fear comes from.
And this is where the source defines bravery in a really specific way. It says Santiago isn't special because he's fearless. He's actually terrified most of the time.
Honestly, that's a relief to hear.
Isn't it?
Yeah, because we think of heroes as people who just charge ahead. But the source is arguing that if you aren't scared, it doesn't even count as bravery.
Exactly. If you aren't scared, you're just oblivious. Bravery is knowing exactly what you could lose, your sheep, your money, your safety, and doing it anyway.
And the source lists his big fears, right? Fear of change, fear of loss.
And the really big one, fear of starting over.
Oh, that one is paralyzing. The idea of walking away from something stable, failing, and then having to start from the absolute bottom again.
And that paralysis is what keeps most of us from even thinking about what the book calls our personal legend.
Okay, we have to talk about that term, personal legend. It sounds so grand, mystical.
Like you need a wizard to reveal it to you.
Exactly. But the source breaks it down into something way more grounded.
It really demystifies it. The analysis says a personal legend is just your potential. It's that thing, deep down you're supposed to be doing with your life.
But here's the part from the source that made me just stop and stare at the wall for a minute.
Oh, I know you're going to say.
It claims that most people actually know what their personal legend is.
Yes. That's the controversial point.
Because we all say it, I just don't know what my passion is. The source basically calls that a lie.
It calls it a defense mechanism.
Yeah.
The argument is that we pretend to be confused because confusion is safe. If I say, I don't know what I want, then I don't have to do anything about it.
Oh.
But if I admit I want to be a writer, well, now the clock is ticking. Now I have a responsibility to act on that.
So we hide behind, I don't know, to avoid the pressure.
It's a lack of trust in ourselves.
Right.
Which brings us to the old king, Melchizedek.
Right, the mentor figure who shows up. And in a typical story, the mentor gives the hero a sword or a magic map.
Or at least a good pep talk. You can do it, kid.
Yeah. But the source points out that Melchizedek doesn't really do that. He doesn't give Santiago courage. He doesn't promise success. So what does he give him?
He gives him permission.
Permission. That sounds weirdly simple.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Why would a grown man need permission to live his own life? But psychologically, it's huge. We're wired to fit in. Melchizedek is the outside voice that says, it's okay to want this. You're not crazy for wanting more.
He validates the dream.
He validates the dream. But here's the twist the source points out. The permission is actually terrifying.
Why? I think it would feel great.
Well, it does, but it also strips away all your excuses.
Oh.
Once you accept that the dream is valid, you can't hide anymore. You can't say, oh, I'm just stuck. If you don't pursue it now, it's not bad luck. It's a choice. It's cowardice.
So the permission actually puts all the responsibility right back on you.
Exactly. And that is a heavy, heavy burden.
So Santiago accepts it. He sells his sheep, his entire life savings, gets on a boat, lands in Tangier.
And this is the reality check moment.
It's a total disaster. He's there for like an hour, trusts the wrong guy, and gets robbed. Everything. Gone.
It's brutal. And the source spends a lot of time on this moment because this just shatters the whole the universe will conspire to help you idea.
It completely contradicts it. He did the brave thing. Where's his reward? Instead, the universe just kicks him in the teeth.
And our source material frames this as the critical test. It's the moment you realize that following your passion does not mean things will go smoothly.
Yeah, if I quit my job and my new business failed in the first month, I'd probably think, okay, universe, message received, I'm going back.
And that's the filter. That's where most people stop. But Santiago doesn't. He's devastated, sure, but he gets a job.
Which introduces us to maybe the most important character in the whole book.
The crystal merchant.
Crystal merchant. I feel like, I don't know, I think we've all blown him at some point.
Oh, absolutely. He's such a tragic figure. He hires Santiago. He's a good person. But the source defines him as the embodiment of choosing comfort over meaning.
He has a personal legend, doesn't he? To go to Mecca.
A lifelong dream.
Yeah.
It's a pillar of his faith. He has the money. He has the time. But he never goes.
And his reason why is just, it's haunting.
It is. He tells Santiago that the dream of Mecca is what keeps him alive. He's afraid that if he actually achieves it, he'll have nothing left to live for.
He prefers the fantasy to the reality.
Exactly. The fantasy is safe. It's perfect. The real trip would involve dust and crowds and maybe disappointment.
Yeah.
And then what?
The source uses him to redefine what failure actually is. And this is so powerful.
What is?
We think failure is what happened to Santiago getting robbed. That's an event.
Right. Situational failure. You can get back up.
But the source says the crystal merchant is the real failure.
Yes. The definition it gives is failure isn't falling down. Failure is choosing the safety of what you know over the potential of what you could be.
So he succeeds at his business.
But he fails at his life.
Failing by succeeding at the wrong thing. Man, that hits hard.
It's the ultimate tragedy. It's better to be Santiago, broke but moving forward, than the merchant, safe but stagnant.
It's comfortable misery.
That's the perfect term for it.
So Santiago works there for a year, makes his money back, and could go home. He could buy twice as many sheep.
The logical choice, the realistic choice.
But that unfinished feeling is still there. So he leaves. He joins a caravan heading into the desert, and this is where he hits the next big obstacle the source talks about. Love.
Enter Fatima.
Now, in a lot of stories, the love interest is just a prize to be won. But the source says Fatima is a narrative device about what real growth and partnership look like.
A very mature understanding of love, yeah. He meets her at the oasis, they fall in love instantly, and Santiago is ready to just scrap the whole quest right there.
I mean, who could blame him? He found love, safety, water. He's thinking, I'm good. The treasure was probably a metaphor anyway.
It's the ultimate temptation to settle. But Fatima refuses. She tells him he has to go.
And this is where the source draws that line between love and ownership.
Right. The source has this great line. Real love never asks you to abandon yourself. But so many relationships are built on a kind of ownership, aren't they? We get scared that if our partner grows or chases a dream, they won't need us anymore.
So we sabotage them, even in little ways. Are you sure that's a good idea? What about us?
That's the fear of loss, disguised as romance. Fatima knows that if Santiago stays for her, he will eventually resent her. He'll look at her and see the treasure he gave up.
And that would poison the love anyway.
Exactly. So the only way to keep the love is to let him go. It's a paradox. It requires this immense trust.
It's the anti-codependency model of a relationship.
It really is. It's two whole people, not two halves clinging to each other.
So he leaves Fatima, goes deeper into the desert, and he finally meets him, the alchemist.
The title character.
And I gotta say, based on the description, the alchemist seems kind of annoying.
He is incredibly frustrating.
He's the mentor, but he won't give any straight answers. Santiago asks, "How do I do this?" And the alchemist says, "Go listen to the wind." I'd be furious.
But that's the whole point, right?
Right.
If he just gave him the answers, he'd be robbing him of the actual process.
Yeah.
His entire teaching method is about one thing: listening.
To the desert, to the omens.
And most importantly, to his own heart. The source contrasts this with our modern hustle culture.
Right.
We want growth to be loud. We want the certificate, the LinkedIn post, the 10-step plan.
We want the training montage with the cool music.
Exactly. But the source says real growth, the kind Santiago experiences, is quiet. It's confusing. It's lonely. It's sitting in silence trying to tell the difference between your fear and your intuition.
That distinction is everything. The alchemist says you have to listen to your heart so you know where it is, otherwise it will control you from the shadows.
That's the whole insight.
Hmm.
You can't manage a fear you refuse to hear. You have to acknowledge it to work with it.
So Santiago survives the desert. He learns this deep lesson. He finally reaches the pyramids. This is it, the finish line.
The climax.
He starts digging, and
Yeah.
nothing. And then, to make it worse, he gets beaten and robbed again. He's bleeding in the sand. He's failed. And the thief mocks him. He says, "You're an idiot. I had a dream once about a treasure buried under a tree in Spain, but I wasn't dumb enough to cross a desert for it.
And that's the moment. The click.
The treasure was at home the whole time, under the tree where he started."
The ultimate twist.
Okay, I have to be honest. The first time I read that, I was so mad. It feels like a trick. If the treasure was at home, what was the point of the whole journey?
I get that. It stings a little. It feels inefficient. But the source argues that this sting is the entire point of the book.
How so?
Because the physical journey was unnecessary for the gold. But it was absolutely necessary for the alchemist.
Okay, unpack that.
Imagine if, in Chapter 1, Santiago just had a hunch, dug a hole, and found the treasure. What would he be?
A rich shepherd.
A rich shepherd, exactly. He'd still be afraid of change. He wouldn't have learned about omens. He wouldn't have met Fatima. He wouldn't know he could survive being robbed. He would have the money, but he wouldn't have the character.
So the gold is actually the least important thing he finds.
It's a byproduct. The real treasure was the internal process of becoming the person who was capable of handling the journey. The source says it was about becoming someone who was ready for their dream.
That really reframes the whole idea of wasted time, doesn't it?
Completely.
That fear that if you try something and go back to where you started, you've wasted years of your life.
But you haven't. Because you are not the same person coming back. You might be at the same starting line, but you are different. You now know you can survive the risk. And that's an asset that can't be stolen.
The alchemy was the change inside himself.
That's it. That's why the analysis is called still becoming. The process is the point, not the destination.
Wow. That makes the ending so much more satisfying.
It does. It all comes back to that unfinished feeling. Santiago listened. The crystal merchant didn't. One became an alchemist. The other stayed a shopkeeper.
So as we wrap up, I want to leave everyone with the final question from the source material. Brings us right back to the beginning.
It's a direct challenge, this one.
The source asks, what dream are you postponing? And calling it being realistic.
Being realistic. That's the best disguise fear has, isn't it?
It really is. We dress up our fear as logic and prudence. I'm just being an adult about this. But it's usually just the fear of the desert talking. It's the fear of losing our sheep.
And the crystal merchant shows us that being realistic can cost you everything that actually matters.
So the advice from Still Becoming is maybe stop waiting for a sign. Stop waiting for permission and just start listening to that unfinished feeling.
Because you are still becoming.
Thanks for diving in with us today. I'm going to go have a small existential crisis now.
Me too. See you next time.